Hi everyone, my name is Maria and I am the Green Stitcher here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. And today I am doing a stitchy update for my October stitching. I've been really looking forward to filming this one because I have a lot to show you today. Really good progress, a lot of stitches added to a lot of projects and a few FFOs in plural, which I'm really happy about. So I'm filming today, it's November 3rd, Sunday morning. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to film it on Friday before work or yesterday in the morning, and so I'm doing it today, but hopefully you'll see it in the next couple of days. And so today what I'll be talking to you about today is I'll show you, like I said, my FFOs and finishes. I'll show you my whips and a restart. I don't think I had any starts. And then I will show you a couple things from my haul because I had very few purchases this month. I'm looking at my notes. Talk to you about a couple of things that are sort of adjacent to cross stitch that I've done this month. I'm talking October, and I'll announce a video I'm planning to do in the middle of the month of November. So with that in mind, let's get started. The only thing I won't be talking to you about today is my plans for November. That's why I'm leaving. I'm going to do that in the video that you'll see in the middle of the month. You'll see why, and just because of the amount of things that I want to show you today that I have already done, I felt like if I added plans to that as well, that would be a 2-hour long video, and nobody has time to watch 2-hour long videos in one sitting at least. So I'm aiming for an hour and a half max, and hoping that it's going to be enough time for me to show you everything. And yeah, probably let's get started. So a few sort of general stat things before we start that. Thank you to everyone who is a returning viewer, and welcome anyone new. I hope you enjoy the video and you decide to stay and subscribe to this channel. This is a channel all about cross stitch and sometimes a bit of quilting. I also sew my own project bags and dye some fabric. Still buy dyed fabric as well by other people, but dye some of my own fabric. What else do I do? I also read and play video games, so I talk about that sometimes. Sometimes my cats will either pop up on the screen or you'll hear them in the background. So yeah, for anyone new, hi, I'm Maria, I'm from Belarus and I live in the UK now, and I have been stitching for 9 years now, 9 and a bit, more or less consistently, excluding the time that I stitched when I was a kid at school, because they teach us how to cross stitch back at home at school. So yeah, today is going to be, like I said, all about stitching and a little bit about fabric dyeing and stuff. No sewing, no quilting. Yeah, we're just going to talk about those things. So November 3rd, I'm wrapping up my October stitching, and just coincidentally, it just so happens that I've been feeling much better in terms of mental health and everything in October, which is good. So I've been able to stitch more, just enjoy things a bit more in general, and I've made up sort of for the very poor 9,000 stitches I did in September in terms of cross stitch, like I said. So October was an almost 13,000, which is a very good number. It's almost as high as my highest month this year, which was March. Again, looking at my spreadsheet with all the numbers. I wish I had like pushed for a little bit. I literally am missing 151 stitches from 13,000. And the reason that I wanted to push for 13,000, besides it being, you know, a spooky month, October and everything, is I also just so happened to end up on 13 whips at the end of the month on October 31st, which again was honestly a coincidence, and a really fun one. So if you've seen a couple of my latest stitchy updates for August and September, you might have remembered that I was trying to finish a few things before my birthday, which is on the 11th of November next week, and I was trying to do that so that I could have a few starts that I've planned. Like I said, I'll talk to you about those in the video you'll see on I think about November 15th. And I had a few finishes planned. I was hoping to progress 2 whips that I haven't been able to progress almost at all. And those were my, should I show you here? I'll just show you the previews so you know what I'm talking about, but I won't show you the whips because, like I said, I haven't progressed. So Siri, I only did some progress on her in September. Haven't stitched anything in October, I'm afraid, and maybe I did like 400 stitches that belong to basically the plan of September. Siri is by Hannah Alexander, the artwork, and charted by Ashley May of Make It Pink. She is the character from the Witcher universe. So I'm stitching her, but like I said, no progress in the last month. And the other design, or I think I haven't stitched, yeah, I have stitched on her in September, not in October. And then my other kind of more long-standing whip is the 12 Days of Christmas by Stony Creek, and I haven't stitched on it for, I think, 2 months either at this point. No. And this is a mine is going to be, as you see here in the cover, with the central element and each individual day around it, instead of the other option with the ornaments. So I just didn't have the time with all of the other plans to do both of these and my plans, and I prioritized finishes over these 2. And boy, do I have to show you something, you guys. I surprised myself in October, I'll be very honest with you. But let's start with something a bit on the smaller side. So first and foremost, a bit of statistics just in general. So in October, I've touched 9 projects, besides one that is FFO'd but finished previously, that I'll show you first. I had 6 finishes, 6, can you believe it? 3 of them were FFO'd as well this month. Yeah, like I said, I had 2 more FFOs besides these 3. One of them I'll show you today, one of them I'll show you in the middle of November. Within the 6 finishes, 2 of them were also October starts, so they were starts and finishes. I had 1 restart, again I'll show you today, and I stitched on 2 whips, and one of them was Siri. Like I said, I only did 500 stitches, I don't want to show you that. And then I have the other whip that I'll show you later. So out of the things that I did finish, let's start with one of the mill hills, and I'll insert the probably the photo and then the little clip I filmed of it up close being finished. So this is B Square by Mill Hill. It's a vintage, I think it's 1994 or 1996 design that they re-released a few years ago in a limited amount from what I gather. Don't quote me on it. And I bought my kit from Create Nostalgia in Wales, and it's sat in my stash for a while, and then I finally decided to start it June 23rd this year, and I finished it in October, as you can see. So it's a beautiful design. I love the amount of specialty stitches that it uses. You've got this lovely straight satin stitches that are obviously super easy and nice to do on perforated paper. I used all of the materials from the kit, didn't sub anything, didn't add anything. I still had the older ceramic hand painted buttons as well, which I was really happy about because those are the ones I prefer if I can get my hands on them. There are a lot of, like I said, specialty stitches that are done with just flosses, and also the ones that combine flosses and beads, and I just absolutely loved working on this project. It's a bit of I don't think it goes as quick as you might think it does. There's only about 5,000 stitches in it altogether combined, but if you convert 1 bead to 1 stitch and I think 2 half stitches to 1 cross, it's quite detailed, and so it took me a while to get that progress done on it, and you know, get it to the point where it is today, which is completely finished, as you can see. And you might have guessed, as I already sort of said in the previous videos, I had a frame already purchased for it that was actually purchased for a different design that I haven't even stitched yet. It's a different season, so I'm planning to just interchange them whenever, you know, the seasons change. And here is my FFO of it as well, and here is an absolutely lovely FFO. So this is actually a Mill Hill frame as well. I think it's the one that's 8x8, 6x6. I don't remember if they give you the measurements of the outside dimensions or the inside, but basically it's the smaller of the square ones that you can buy from quite a few places. I think I got mine from Create Nostalgia as well a couple of years ago when I went to visit the store in Wales. And it's this lovely dark olive green that is hand painted, as you know. It's got a bit of this like scuffed surface here. It matches one of the greens in the design perfectly, and I just love how it looks. The preview for it meant for the design to be framed into a black frame with some of this sort of scuffing as well, but I wanted a green one, as you know. Green is my favorite color, so anywhere I can justify using it, I will. So here it is, and that was my first finish and FFO of October, and I love, love, love it. And I know it's out of season, but it's been standing in one of my chest of drawers here, and you know, making me very, very happy. The way I FFO'd it is, I did basically next to nothing. I just put this in the frame, didn't cut or stick the perforated paper onto anything. It's the same size as it comes out from the kit. They offer you the backing with the frame. The only thing is that if you buy the frame from other places than Create Nostalgia, I think Create Nostalgia do it for you. They don't have these I can't remember what they're called properly. They don't have these metal holders basically that hold the backing. Mill Hill frames normally come without them and with the little wooden stand, so you have to figure out yourself how to close the back. I bought it from the shop when I was there physically, and so they have a tool and they just did these for me when I bought it, and I'm not sure if they do the same for deliveries. You might want to just give them a ring if you want to order one and ask them. I know they have a range of Mill Hill frames, but yeah. So this is finish number 1. And then the next one, I think we're going to go in more or less chronological order of when I finished things. So the next one is a big one, and it's a gorgeous one, and it's perfectly themed, and I'm so happy it was finished in October. So again, I'm inserting a photo of the finished result and a clip of the close-ups. So I finished my Garden Spells by Shepherd's Bush. It was my first proper kit from Shepherd's Bush. This one was custom ordered for me by a store in the UK because I couldn't find it anywhere, and so Shepherd's Bush sent it to the store here and then to me, and I think to date it's my most expensive kit, as in the one that comes, you know, already kitted, and we're not talking mirabilias obviously and things like that. So Garden Spells, I started it on June 22nd, 2024 for my friend's birthday. She started a Shepherd's Bush that I gifted her as well, a different design with a booklet. And so in this one, I used everything that the kit included. It had this lovely 32 count linen called Deadly Nightshade. Not sure who the dyer is, and judging by the thickness of the linen, it's most likely based on a Belfast by Zweigart. Then I used all of the flosses from the kit, which are different silks. I think there is Aversois. Ooh, maybe Silken Color? No, maybe that's the drawn thread. I don't remember. It's got silks in the kit, and you stitch 1 strand over 2 on 32 count, including specialty stitches as well. I had an issue with the threads that I talked about in my previous videos, but the lovely ladies at the Shepherd's Bush have responded quite quickly and sorted everything out for me, and so I got my threads in the mail. And so I had a bit of a battle with myself in terms of stitching with 1 strand on 32 count. Even though it's silk and it's maybe slightly thicker than your normal cotton flosses, it still felt a bit strange. I am very much a 2 over 2 kind of stitcher on 32 count, so this was a bit of a kind of going out of my comfort zone a little bit, stitching 1 over 2 on such a high count, 32. So took some time to get used to it, but I really loved how it turned out. And what I really loved is the buttons and charms that you had in the kit, and I totally loved sewing those on as well. I think the way I have prepared for this, because it's a hand-dyed fabric, I probably sprayed it with water from the water bottle, basically, whatever you use to iron your stuff. And then I ended with the highest temperature, dry heat, no steam. That's what I've been taught to do with linen. I've heard some other people use different methods. It works for me. That's how I always treat my linen. I make it wet, either by washing it if it's okay because it's not hand dyed, or by wetting it from the water bottle, and then I iron it flat, obviously, on a towel on an ironing board with no steam and the hottest that my iron can go. And so that seemed to be just fine, and I stitched it on the scroll frames, so I didn't have to wash it at the end either. And I think I didn't even iron it because I took the time to sew on the buttons at the end, which are plastic, obviously. So I also FFO'd this one, you guys, and I'm so happy about this result. Again, somehow the whole history of this project is something went wrong. I had to sort it out with the suppliers, and then get it sorted. So let me show you first, and then I'll talk you through it. So here is my FFO'd version. Let me just show you without my face in the frame. Here is my FFO'd version. There we go. And I am in love. This is one of my favorite projects, especially the way it looks now that it's completely finished and FFO'd as well. And I absolutely love it. So the frame I ordered for this was meant to be a black frame with like a brownish, what's it called? Like a shabby brownish kind of line inside and outside. And I got a completely different frame delivered, got in touch with them, they've apologized, clearly sent the wrong one, and then they sent me the right one, but it didn't have those brown scuffs again. It was completely black, so this was completely painted black, and I really liked the look of it being a bit scuffed, and I really liked how the Mill Hill one was, where it's not one solid color, and you have a bit of that wood peeking through. And so what I've done with this frame, at my own risk, obviously, well, knowing that it's a wooden frame that's just painted, I basically took some really high-grade sandpaper, like 180, and just sanded some of this off. There's a lot of texture to this frame. It's all kind of, you see, like raised in places and dipped in others. And so it was quite nice and easy to do it without, ruining the whole thing. And I really love how it turned out. I love that it's a little bit shabby, a little bit, lived in, and I feel like the design just looks so perfect. My really bright stitchy light is now washing out the colors a bit. I'll see what I can do when editing so you can see the colors better. They're not as pale compared to the frame as you might see, but here it is, and it's been hanging in our hallway upstairs, decorating our house for Halloween and the time around that. I think I finished it around I had it FFO'd framed already about October 23rd, I think. So it had a good week to hang and get us to feel the spooky vibes. So the way I frame my pieces, and I frame everything myself, is I use the mat that would normally go, on the front if you wanted one. I buy those mat boards from a craft store in large sizes, like A3, A2, and then I cut them to the size of the backing, as of here. And so I lace my stitching on top of those because they are acid-free mats. And then I don't use any glue, any sticky tape, nothing like that. I have done it before and I found that it dries with time and the stitching, gets saggy and weird. And I lace it with threads, with floss. And yeah, no glass, as you can see. I love my stitching without glass. All of it is without, and absolutely love it. It's not as delicate and dainty as the frame and the lovely hand-painted mat that they use in the cover picture, but mine's a bit spookier, darker, and I absolutely love it. This is definitely more our style. And yeah, the buttons are so cute, you guys, look at them. So almost all of the buttons are exactly the same as the preview, except for the pumpkin, and they do say in the kit that, they obviously reserve the right to change some of the buttons, keep the same idea, change the design exactly depending on availability. So it's a slightly different, but it's still a pumpkin. So here we go, I'm so happy. It was such a good experience stitching on it in the end, and it just turned out so beautiful. My first ever shepherd's bush kit, and there was over one stitching as well in the sampler, as you have seen, the sampler on the left side. And yeah, I just absolutely love it, and I'm so happy that I've stitched this so quickly as well. I have a few more shepherd's bush kits in my stash, as you might know, so I'm definitely hoping to stitch on more of them next year. Right, coming along next, let me just have a tiny gulp of water. A lot of talking. There we go. Okay, so having finished my Mill Hill in the first couple of weeks of October, I had a bit of a break when I was finishing the Garden Spells, and I got really drawn back into stitching some Mill Hills. And so I decided to pick up a tiny little project that I had in my stash again for a couple of years now. I'm pretty sure it was a gift. I am not sure who exactly from. I had two stitchy friends in Belarus who used to send me gifts, and so it's one of them. So here is my tiny finish and start and finish and FFO, and it is the Harvest Wagon by Mill Hill that's full of pumpkins and apples and has the cutest little pumpkin charm on there. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to see if I hide my face. No, maybe this way. No, I don't know. I'll see if I can maybe insert some close-ups for you guys, but yeah, here is my little wagon. Again, I used everything I had in the kit, the bluish, kind of light blue perforated paper, 14 count, the flosses are DMC from the kit, the beads are Mill Hill, same as I said in the previous one, and I'm pretty sure this one is still available. It's not one of the older ones. And the way I FFO all of my Mill Hills that are not Christmas themed, or not Christmas themed to me, or I don't see on a Christmas tree, is I back them with felt and put the magnet from the kit on them if there is one. And then you've seen this before, there is a magnetic board that also looks like a blackboard behind me in my craft room here, and it holds all of my needle minders that I own except for the ones that live on whips, and also a few of the Mill Hill designs that I've stitched before. I will insert some photos now. I've taken some photos of my previous Mill Hill finishes that were FFO'd the same way and live on my board, including this little one. So yeah, like I said, I just really wanted to stitch a tiny little male hill, and I was really glad to do it. Love these. They're like little tiny, like, you know, treats, having like having a dessert after dinner, if that makes sense. And I just absolutely love stitching them. I have quite a few in my stash, and I feel like when you've been stitching for like a week or two on the same project, because you know you're trying to finish it and make good progress, I like to either sort of rest from the bigger one with these in the evening or another time of the day, or make a break, take a break for a couple of days and stitch on these little ones before I move on to something else. So that is finished and FFO number 3. Absolutely love it. Oh, and it's autumn themed as well. Yeah, love it. Then number 4, the rest of mine were not FFO'd. They were just finished, which is still quite an achievement. You will see why. The next one I have, and I'll show you right now, is I finished my second shepherd's bush stocking. So that's 2 shepherd's bush finishes in a month, and it's Brett's stocking with one of the lovely 3 kings, and it's the stocking for my husband. I am not doing them as they're meant to be, if you follow the pattern. So what I mean by that is, instead of using 18 count linen, stitching over 2 with purl number 5, Weeks That Works, Classical Works, and DMC. I don't know if Classical Works do. Maybe they do. Yeah, I mean, all of it is meant to be stitched with purl number 5 on 18 count over 2. I stitched mine with the same exact colors, but in embroidery weight, 2 over 2 on 28 count natural casual linen. And here is my finish. I love it. You might think it's missing things, and you will be right in thinking so. So I have sewn on some of the beads that are glass, so I can iron it, but I haven't sewn on any of the metal charms or plastic buttons. I am planning to FFO it into an actual Christmas stocking myself as well, and so I could have done it before the video, I guess, but I'm somehow delaying it. So what I need to do is I need to iron on interfacing onto this one and mine as well. Then only I can sew on the plastic buttons and charms, obviously, so I don't melt them when I'm ironing on the iron-on interfacing, and then I can sew the Christmas stockings. But because I was so busy finishing all the things in October, I haven't had the capacity to even think about that. So this has only some of the beads. I think I'll insert the clip as well for you. I'm pretty sure I shot a close-up of this. So the beads that were included in the kit are obviously quite large compared to the space that I have, because I'm using a smaller count, I guess, in this case. So you can get an embellishment pack separately from the pattern for this. That's where the beads came from. Again, because of how old the design is compared to the availability of these embellishments today in 2024, they've replaced some of them, so they looked slightly different, and some of them were plastic buttons instead of glass flowers. I got a bit confused with the amount of things, and some of the beads that you see on here I took from Stash, and I bought a mixed color pack from Preciosa, I think. But yeah, I love how it turned out. Absolutely love the colors, the combination of the reds and the greens and the purples. Again, so perfect for Halloween stitching, isn't it? So yeah, and then I'll show you mine again while we're at it. I've taken it out of storage. It's a little bit crinkled, but I hope you'll forgive me. So here is mine again. Mine is much more muted and sort of gentle colors than my husband. So I'll show you both next to each other. Hopefully you can see. Yeah. His is much more vibrant and, you know, bold reds, purples as well. Mine is all very like dusty and antique almost looking, but I love them both so much. So there's just two. I'm not making any more as far as I'm concerned right now. It's just the two of us and two of our cats. I might make some for cats, I don't know if that makes any sense. But for now, I'm happy with how they turned out. I'm really happy that I have done them my own way. This way, so this is a fat quarter of linen, 28 count, like I said, cut into half. So I took the same piece and it's enough for 2 stockings with quite an alright margin, I think. And yeah, so I also wanted to say, just in case anyone likes the way they look and wants to do the same, the reason why I did this in the first place is I wanted them to be smaller. The way you stitch them, if you follow the original key, they turn out quite large. I have seen one with my own eyes in a stitchy store when I went there in Wales this summer, and it looks glorious and absolutely lovely, and the 5 size pearls just pop off in terms of color and also like texture, obviously above the linen. The stocking is like you know, like a shopping bag kind of size in that case though. So I wanted smaller ones. I wanted them, so they're kind of like A4 size-ish. And I also wanted to build up a collection of hand-dyed embroidery flosses that are, you know, embroidery weight. I didn't want to buy so many very specific, you know, size 5 pearl hand-dyed flosses because I didn't know if I would ever be able to use them in anything else. But using the embroidery weight of them made it possible for me to use them in other designs, which I have been already, which is really nice. So I bought 1 skein of each color for each of this design, I think. I don't think I bought 2 skeins of anything. The only color that needed a lot of is this dark red in the Mage's Cape, and I think it's raspberry, I want to say, or raspberry, one of those two. And I almost used all of it, but I still had some left. So 1 skein is enough. And I do close every cross as I go because they are variegated, and so I want to keep the variegation going, if that makes any difference to the amount of threads that you use. So if anyone wants to do the same thing, like I said, you can buy the embellishment pack separately. The embellishments will be bigger than the space that is there for them. That's for you to decide if you want to keep it, if you want to do something different. I'm going to do the same, maybe tweak some things like you've seen. But yeah, I'm really happy. I love how they look, and I'm really hoping that when I get to FFO them, I'm hoping this year, November, December. So I have a week of work in November for my birthday, but we have some plans regarding renovations and other stitching, and then I'm off for Christmas though in December, so I'm hoping that maybe closer to Christmas I'll have the time to do both of these. So yeah, very exciting. I'm so glad they're finished. Again, these both were my starts and finishes of 2024. And then I'll leave the biggest and the most epic thing for last. I'll show you my recent start and finish. And so having stitched Be Square by Mill Hill, and then having stitched the Harvest Wagon as well, I was again, I finished both. I had a few days to myself to stitch something else, and I was again drawn to my perforated paper, to my 3/1, to beads, and I just love that combination. I have a couple of Brooks Books designs stitched in the same way, and I just totally love them. So I picked up a design from my stash and decided to start it. I didn't think I would finish it this month, but like I said, I was my needle was on fire, so I was stitching my heart away, and this was actually a Halloween night finish. So this is Cardinal Santa by Mill Hill. And I started him kind of last couple of weeks of October and finished on October 31st. He is one of the, they have so many collections of these different Santas. I think he's the one from the bird collection. I've also got one with a French horn that I want to stitch in my stash. I picked this one because of his absolutely gorgeous coat and those lovely, lovely patterns on it. And the colors as well, the dark green, the dark red. You know it by now, it's my favorite combination. And I really love the gift bag that he has behind there. It was my first time with these Santas doing these funny beards and mustaches. So easy. I did not realize how easy it's going to be. I think it was my first Santa from Mill Hill in the first place, but I totally loved stitching on him. So this one is about 2,500 stitches, so it's kind of in between your smaller one and your proper bigger square Mill Hill. And again, I used everything from the kit. It is 14 count brown perforated paper, stitching 3/1 with DMC from the kit, using DMC to sew on the beads. The beads are Mill Hill as well. The only thing I changed here, and I hope you'll be able to see and notice the difference. So the whole, what's the word for it? You know, I don't remember. The whole coat piping, edge, fur, I guess, was meant to be done with DMC blend, which is probably the first time I've ever encountered a blend in a Mill Hill design in the first place. I decided to use some of my leftover Riolis woolen acrylic flosses that I had in my stash. So it's just white, and I used 2 strands of it over one on the perforated paper, and I feel like it gives the nicest, loveliest look of wool on his coat. Like I said, you can totally tell in person that it's stitched with something else, that it's not cotton. I hope you can see it on camera as well. It's slightly probably lighter than it was meant to be, but that's fine. And I'm happy to be using things from my stash as well, so really happy about it. I used the DMC for his hair and his beard and mustache, but just did the coat, like I said. And if I do any more Santas with sort of the same thing, I'll do the same. I'll use my leftover Riolis woolen acrylic flosses. So super happy, I love it so much. So it was a start and finish of October. I honestly just didn't have the time to FFO him. All I need to do is cut him out of the paper, and then I have little tree stumps, things that are meant for cards, like table placement cards for guests and weddings and things. And I need to sort of do the same thing as I do with my gnomes, as you can see in the background here. Let me show you one, so you know what I mean. This. I do this, I back them with felt, and I stick them in these little tree stumps. The only thing I'm thinking about, he's a bit larger. No, he's just wider, not taller than my gnomes. If I need to stick him on like a ice cream stick kind of thing to give him a bit of the support, we'll see. I'll see what I can do with this, but yeah, he is lovely. And I really want to stitch more of Mill Hill, and I feel like I always need to have one on the go now, at least one a month, maybe 2. So this is 3 in October, which is amazing. And then, you guys, you will not believe this. I did not believe myself when this happened. I finished the Japanese garden. Let me show you the preview. So this was my oldest whip. It is the Japanese Garden by Dimensions. It was a kit that my sister gifted me a few years ago. She lives in Japan. She has been living there for almost 10 years now. We both absolutely love Japanese culture and language and food and anime and games and loads of things. And so it's always been my dream to go to Japan and visit her there. I haven't been able to do that just yet, but hopefully at some point soon. And so I was really happy when she gifted me this. However, I think to date, it is the biggest design I've ever stitched and finished. I'm not talking Siri, she's not finished just yet. And so you might have seen me really struggle with her, with the Japanese garden in September. I was meant to stitch 2,500 and only did half of that. And then I sort of decided to stretch it out, do only 1,200 stitches and finish the design by New Year's. And that was the plan when I sat down to stitch it in October as well. And then something got in me, and this has happened before, where I get really stubborn and angry with myself, and I almost challenge myself to, it's almost like on a dare, I challenge myself to, stick with the project and get it finished. And I did it. I can't believe it. It took me, I think, less than a week, maybe a week and a half, to stitch almost 4,000 stitches on it in one sitting without being interrupted to stitch on anything else. And here it is, you guys. Can you believe it? I cannot, honestly. It's done. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think it's much bigger than I expected it to be. It's a good, almost like A3 size. So as you can see, I could not count properly when I was stitching in 2020, and I didn't check my margins properly, so they're very different on different sides, but that should be fine. I know a way to go around it when I'm going to be framing it. So it was stitched on 16 count blue Ada by Dimensions, I guess, because it was in the kit. I used all of the kit flosses, which are Dimensions dyed as well. And then I only changed, and I'll insert a video here as well with the close-ups. I've changed the color of the metallic on the, or rather the whole metallic thread on the rails. So it was meant to be a blend of a cotton and a sort of DMC kind of feel metallic floss, which was very thin. You were meant to take like 2 strands of that plus the cotton, somehow make a railing out of it. I love stitching with 1, 2, 3, however many strands when I'm doing crosses. However, when we're talking backstitch or couching or anything like that, I hate multiple strands. So I'll do everything in my power to find a thicker floss to replace that with. So I used a size 4 Krynic instead in a similar golden color to do the golden lines on the railing, and I did couching so that it, nicely sort of lays flat on top of the stitching. So again, this was my oldest whip. I started it in February 2020, just before the announcements of the pandemic. We had tickets to go see my sister in Japan in April that year, which obviously all got cancelled. Luckily, we got the refund on the tickets, but we haven't still gotten around to visiting her there. But it's still a dream. Maybe me finishing this will somehow manifest us going to Japan. But yeah, it's an absolute beauty. I love it. I think I've been staring at it for so long, I've forgotten how gorgeous it is. And now that I see it through the camera and also from a bit of distance and, having had a break from it for a bit, I just love it. It is a Dimensions one. If anyone likes the design, I will have to warn you, there's about 45,000 stitches in it. There are full crosses, half crosses that use 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 strands. I don't remember at this point. Definitely from 1 to 4, 100%. It uses a lot of backstitch. The confetti in the trees is real. It felt like a full coverage kind of design, which I've never properly stitched one before. But yeah, it's done. it's finished. It's not my oldest whip anymore, and it didn't meet its 5th anniversary, which is a wonderful achievement on my side, I think. My current oldest whip, I think, is the Poppy Field from Encore, and that one is not even 3 years old, I think, so that's not too bad. But 5 years was pushing it for me personally. I will have to say, after stitching this, and even in the process of stitching this, I have reevaluated what I like in stitching and what I enjoy. And a few of these very large, very detailed, very like high number of stitches dimensions kits I sold, the gold dimensions kits I sold, I gifted, I got rid of them because I find them absolutely stunning and gorgeous, but I don't find it fun to be working on them, and that's something I'm looking for in stitching at the moment in my life. So yeah, very happy, very, very proud of myself. Can't believe it happened. So that's it for my finishes. And then, like I said, I only worked on 2 whips, one of which was Siri, which I showed you already. The other one, and a bit random, I guess, compared to my other October plans, was my one and only long dog. So I think I've watched quite a few people talking about long dog designs in October. It was Wicked Cat Stitch. It was Marissa from Mkissa Creations, who made a video about different long dogs and people who stitch them, and showed a few of hers that are finished, FFO'd, and whips, and all of that got me really inspired and enabled to pull out my own. So I didn't have much time on it because I was busy finishing things, but I made a progress of 1,000 stitches, so I wanted to show you this. So this is my first and only so far long dog design called Crossword. It is one of the medium size, closer to smaller ones, I want to say. It's only about 22,000 stitches. I'm doing mine on 32 count Picture This Plus linen in color Loch, as in L-O-C-H, Loch in Scottish. And I'm using 1802, if I remember correctly, color by Madeira, just because I have a whole cone of it, and I felt like it was the perfect color to not only pop on this fabric, but to also match our bedroom theme, which is basically these colors, and it will look just absolutely gorgeous and perfect in there. So yeah, one thing I wanted to say is the reason I picked it up as well is I've been nervous about my margins on here as well, and I really wanted to check that I've got enough, and so I do, it's fine. And because it's a long dog, most likely I'll be framing it without any matting, and so I don't need much space, you know, to do that, maybe like an inch. Yeah, that should be perfectly fine. I completely forgot to show you my other FFO. So I had 2 more FFOs, one of which I'll show you later in a different video. I had bought a couple of frames to fully finish a couple of my previously stitched designs, and here is one of them. So in February 2024, I finished this gorgeous design by Paradise Stitch, and she is available on inspireplift.com, I think. She is a Russian designer who works with a particular illustrator who I really like for these seasonal Japanese inspired designs. And so I've got a summer one completed and FFO'd as well. This is my second one in the series now, completed and FFO'd as well. So it's the winter one with the cranes and bamboo. I don't think I've shown it on my channel. I might have in my first video, but I finished it before I started the channel in English. But yeah, they use a lot of colors, but each sort of in their own section, and they use a lot of different strands. So you'll have full crosses with 1 strand and 2, half crosses with 1 and 2 in the same colors sometimes, so it gives you a lot of dimension and a lot of depth to it, and I really love that about her designs. This one had a lot of fractional stitches as well because of the snow, to make the snowflakes look, you know, rounder. less pointy and stuff. So absolutely love this. The fabric I stitched it on was 32 count plain air Belfast linen, which is like very light grayish bluish hue to it, and I love how it turned out. I just wanted it to pop just a little bit with the white. I'm not doing anything fancy with the frames. These are standard size panoramic photo frames. So if you search that, you will see that there's a very big variety of options from ready-made frames for this kind of size. I stitch quite a few of these sort of designs, and so that's where I usually go to. I think this is like I think I had a sticker on here. This is an 8 by 16 frame inches, so very easy to find. I think I got it on Amazon or eBay somewhere. One of the local English stores are selling these. And when I bought this, I also bought 2 more frames in the same range in different colors. So I'll show you my summer one probably in a different video. The summer one is framed in like a sagey green. This is white, and then I have pink for the spring one because it's going to have like a sakura blossom tree on it. And then I have bright red for the fall one, autumn one, which has a maple tree with red leaves on it. So yeah, that was my other FFO this month. Like I said, I've been feeling better, so I've been more engaged with my crafts and doing more things than lately. Absolutely love it. Can't wait for December 1st to put it up on the wall in the living room. We have like a very good size wall sort of between the living room door and the wall above the sofa that has like all the cat things, like the hammocks, the scratchers, the climbers. So yeah, it's kind of it's got its own little space, and I'm really hoping to stitch at least one more design next year so that I can swap them with the seasons. All right, next on the agenda is a restart. And while I'm talking about the restart, I'll talk to you about my fabric dyeing. So once I finished all of my plans and I could sort of have a look at my other whips and things I had planned, I have decided to go ahead with the restart of the Cricut collection, Playing with Jacks, which I started on September 13th, which is a Friday 13th. I started it on a sand color Witchet linen that I had in stash, 32 count as always, and I didn't iron it and wash it as I normally do. And then when I went to iron and wash it the next morning after I'd already started it, I accidentally stained it with some blue dye that was left on my ironing board from when I dyed some fabrics in July. So I ruined that piece, and it transferred onto the flosses as well. I started it right in the middle where the light pumpkin is, so it ruined some of the flosses and you could see the blue sort of hue on it. So pretty much the whole of October, I've been thinking about how to approach the restart for it. I, for some reason, really badly wanted to try it on a Belfast linen instead, to stitch on something a bit softer, though I do love my Witchet. And so I dyed this piece with red dye. So this is a 32 count Belfast platinum over dyed with taupe red dye. However, I forgot that Belfast linen seems to be taking color easier and gets quite dark quite quickly. This was 5 minutes and I didn't put that much, and it's quite dark for this design in my opinion. It's a lovely piece, I'm going to use it for something else, but yeah, it's not going to be started on this. And then I decided to try and over dye the piece that I had ruined. and I'll show you what I have today. This is a bit of November progress as well, so it's a little bit of cheating, but just go with me on this. So this is what I got in the end. So it's just on my stand, so I'm trying to kind of awkwardly show you without taking it off. So I over dyed this piece of witch oat that I used for it after frogging everything with the same red dye. You can kind of still see some of the bluish splotches, I think, but together with the rest of the things, I think it looks fine and gives it more a bit of a spooky vibe. After washing and dyeing it and stuff, it got softer as well, so that's nice. And I restarted basically in the center as well, but in a slightly different place, so I wasn't, you know, bored stitching the same thing. So I think I've already made a progress of 1,000 stitches, but I'm not actually putting it away just yet. And I'll talk to you about this in my next video in the November / birthday / Nora plans. So yeah, really love this. I'm stitching it with the Cold 4 DMC colors. And I have swapped 2 colors in the design for over dyed. So you might have noticed my leaves, my oak leaves, are much more pronounced on this fabric than the ones on the preview. Actually, let me take it out so it doesn't give you a glare. There we go. You almost can't see the leaves. They really blend in with the fabric here. And they are stitched with, I think, 438, 437, one of those. Yeah. So instead of the color in the leaves, in the darker color in the acorn leaves, I am using, where have I put it? My Stash Wigs That Works Chickpea 1229. It's a darker, nicer kind of, I don't know, I think it perfectly goes for acorn leaves, at least in my head. And then I also never saw it until I looked at the pattern in Cross Saga. There is a border here of individual crosses that is so light, and it's like a light teal color. You can't even tell it's there. I don't know if you can. And so again, I wanted something a bit more pronounced, a bit darker, and I felt like the purple color, which is one of my favorites as well, and goes so well with Halloween designs, which I consider this one a Halloween design. It's not, there's only a few sort of pieces with purple. There's some in this patchwork pumpkin and some in this sampler pumpkin, and so to support those colors and like bring them out, and again just use my flosses from Stash, I'm using Wisconsin Woods from Classic Color Works, and it's actually one of the colors from my Shepherd's Bush Christmas stocking, so very happy. It's like a dusty purple, very, very nice, and I'm going to do the border in that. So that is my restart. And then while I was dyeing fabrics for the pumpkins, I also dyed myself a piece for a soon-ish start, and this turned out much better. So this is kind of what I was going for when I was trying to do the color for the pumpkins, and it's again Belfast linen 32 count in platinum, over dyed with taupe red dye. But this one was a second batch, so I did the one for the pumpkin, didn't add any more color, took it out after 5 minutes, and then just put this in there for I think 5 or 10 minutes as well, and it turned out much lighter, like it's just toasted, and I love this. And I think it might be a soon-ish finish, and I'll talk to you about that one in a minute. Actually, in a minute. I'll just put it aside here, and then I'll show you just another piece that I dyed for a love project. Honestly, you guys, I won't tell you. I decided to keep it a secret for just a bit until you see the video in 2 weeks. So in October, I was really lucky to find a gorgeous, absolutely stunning Mirabilia design that was almost fully kitted up on eBay for half the price. I won the auction for half the price, And I'll be very honest with you, I love my discounts and I love my eBay auctions, and I have been known to, you know, buy things because they are on a discount, not necessarily because I am in love with them. However, this time, when I was waiting for the auction to happen, and it took like a few days obviously till the countdown started, I have been looking close at the pattern, researching the materials, looking at other people who've stitched it. I fell in love with it head over heels. I honestly think, and you can quote me on this and we'll see what I say when I've stitched more of them, this is the most beautiful memorabilia that's ever been designed for me, obviously for me. And so I have all the beads, I have all the silks, I have the pattern as well. The only thing I was missing was I needed fabric and one Krynic that I haven't stashed actually. I couldn't find the fabric anywhere in the UK and I really wanted to start it quite soon. And I decided to instead use the huge chunks of linen I bought off Facebook a few weeks ago and just dye my own piece of fabric. So basically, I've got this loveliness here. And I hope you'll be able to see how beautiful and delicate it is. So this is 32 count Witchelt, over-dyed with teal red dye. And it's wrinkled, it's not mottled, it's wrinkled because my cats like to sit on things. So I made absolutely sure that I dyed it, you know, flat. I didn't want any mottling, but I wanted a very specific shade of like a tealy, yeah, slightly greenish, slightly bluish light linen for it. You can try guessing in the comments if you want which design I got and what I'm starting quite soon, but you'll see all about it in the next video. So I'm really happy. The lesson to learn for me from this is I need a big good container to dye these big pieces in so that I don't stain our tub. I'll be honest with you, I have been dyeing some of my fabrics in our acrylic tub, which gives them the slightest, tiniest hue of color, which we are in the middle of renovations. It's the tub that was here before we moved in. It's going to be replaced at some point. I wouldn't be doing it to the tub that we're keeping for forever, obviously, but yeah, I need something big, and I just need to get to like a Home Depot kind of store to get one of those containers. So I think this is it. The last tiny bit I want to talk to you about is haul. So besides that gorgeous design that I'll show you next time, I got another absolutely stunning design, and it is a Mill Hill wreath that is spiced wreath. I think it's quite hard to find these. I'm not sure. Maybe I've seen it somewhere else. Anyways, I got them an eBay auction again. And it has the old original ceramic button as well, which I'm really happy about. So loads of beads, loads of lovely Christmassy colors. The only thing I'm thinking about is I have a couple of these wreaths now. I have an autumn one, I have this Christmas one. I might have others, I don't remember. I don't want to stitch them on paper. I would prefer to stitch them on fabric and get rid of all of the background. So you see there's a few frames inside, the pale kind of beigey yellow background. I want to get rid of all of that, just do the wreath, just do the, you know, yeah, just do the wreath. And I think that would be absolutely perfect. And then the other thing I got is a ticket to a stitching event, which you might have heard of, which is Jingle Ball in the US, organized by Lindy Stitches and I think 11 other cross-stitch designers. I have never been to one before, and I don't know how it will work with the time difference. Obviously I'm in the UK, they're in the US. I think I have like a 7 to 8 hour difference with where it's being hosted and the times that are, you know, that it's running. I'm not doing any classes for that reason as well, because I don't know how to fit it all sort of in my schedule. Still sleep and eat and do other things, not just, you know, be online all the time. And also attend things. So I will see how it goes. I don't know how it works. If anyone has been to one and wants to give me any tips, what to prepare, what to expect, anything, I would really appreciate it. I might see some of you there, hopefully. If you recognize me, say hi. I am a bit socially awkward, so I do apologize in advance, but yeah, I hope that that will be fun. I also attended a crafty get-together in Nottingham in October, which was amazing. I was so happy and excited to have found some local crafters who actually have been getting together for a while now. Through a workmate of mine, I found their Instagram and asked if I could join, and I did. And so that's something that I'm hoping to be doing once in a while now. I'm actually going to another one of those today after I've filmed and done everything. And because we're getting together sort of just in a cafe, in a coffee shop, in a tea house kind of thing, and it's a small space normally with, you know, smaller tables and things, I obviously cannot bring all of my nonsense, all of my scroll frames and you know, wooden stand, and take up 70 centimeters of the space on the table. So I was actually stitching on the harvest wagon last time I went, and then today, and that's my almost immediate start plans that I won't delay until the next video is. So I'm actually kind of torn in between, and I haven't decided yet, and I will probably decide last minute, or maybe take both of them with me. I can only basically take something quite small, either a Mill Hill or a small design that I can put in a hoop. And so I have two candidates, and you probably won't see the video until next week, so I will have already gone, so there's no point in asking you. But basically, I have one last gnome left in the green and red series of gnomes by Mill Hill that I would love to stitch this year and get the series finished. It's all prepared. I've got it in my custom size that I've made bag that fits perfectly these Mill Hill kits. Paper ready, floss is ready. Actually, I need to sort them on an organizer. Beads ready, pattern ready, everything is ready. And I might do that. However, because it's technically still autumn, we're still in November, right? And I have been stitching Christmas things throughout the year, so I don't feel very like hungry for Christmas stitching, if that makes sense. I think the other thing that I might start is my second, and I think the last Jeanette Douglas autumn design. So it's an acorn shaker box. There we go. I bought the pattern when I was at Create Nostalgia a couple of years ago, together with the pumpkin one that I had already stitched. And this one was slightly trickier for me to kit up because it needed a Gloriana, which is quite hard to find, I think, in general, but particularly in the UK. And for some reason, specifically this color, I just had to track it on an English website and just wait for it for a few months. It's a Falcon Brown 254. Gorgeous color, going from like a beigey, a greenish, to a darker green and a brick red. Just an absolutely beautiful color. I haven't stitched with Gloriana yet. I'm really excited to try. And so this piece of linen that I've shown you before was actually done for this. I feel like it will look just perfect. Trying not to glare. There we go. Yeah, I think it's going to look just fine. I love Belfast, and the rest of the colors are quite dark, so I don't think anything should be an issue. There we go. Doing a floss toss. There we go. The only color that's kind of light is this Cinder Mill Brown, but it's darker than my fabric, so yeah, I love it. I think it's going to be great. The only thing that I need is to find a good size hoop for it, and because I mostly stitch on scroll frames, I don't really have many hoops. That's the only thing. I think I might start this. I'm mostly leaning towards the Jeanette Douglas design. What else? I think that may be it. Where are my notes? The very last thing I wanted to talk to you about is a quick reminder that I am hosting my first ever start along, that is going to be on my birthday, November 11th. And forgot there for a second when my birthday was. So I'm starting a designed by Owl Forest Embroidery. Here is the preview, and that's with the hashtag for the SAL. So the start along, you can do it on any day. If you can on the 11th, perfect. If you cannot, you can do any day in November. It doesn't have to be a start. It can be a finish, a whip, whatever you like. So I am sticking to designs that are on green fabric with mostly green floss, or with mostly green floss, or owls, or a forest, or an owl forest, or any combination of the above. And so I'm starting one that I feel like kind of covers all the bases coincidentally. So it's green on green fabric with owls, and it's an owl forest. However, like I said, you can do you don't have to do all of them at once. If you would like to join, you don't have to do anything. You can just stitch at your own pace, and just put the hashtag green stitcher b-day sal that you can see on the screen now in your post on Instagram or your story on Instagram, and tag me. So it's Maria_the green stitcher on Instagram, if you want me to see it. I've heard the hashtags don't always work. And then as part of the Nora November stitch along movement, I'm not sure what it is at this point, because I feel like it's gotten much bigger than just a stitch along. I am going to be filming a video that you will see on November 15th, where I talk to you about all of my Mirabilia, I'm a newly introduced Nora stitcher. I think I only started one last year, first time, so I don't have a collection. I don't have many of them stitched yet. I do have a few things to show you though, so I want to do that in a separate video and talk about my November plans there as well. So you'll see it on November 15th. I'm going to start filming it in 2 minutes when I'm done filming this, and it's going to be some of the things I'll show you at the beginning. Some of them will be more of a vlog style, taking you through my process of starting a couple things and stuff like that. So hope you'll enjoy that. And yeah, that's pretty much my October and and the things that I'm hoping to do in November. I'm also attending a stitchy event that that one of the local dyers of fabric and floss organized for us in Nottingham. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm hoping to tell you all about it when I see you at the end of the month again, besides the November 15th video, like I said. So yeah, I hope you had a wonderful Halloween if you celebrated. I hope you are happy and you and your family are healthy and safe wherever you are in the world. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, or feel free to message me on Instagram or email me at mariathegreenstitcher@gmail.com. And thank you so much for your time today. Have a wonderful, wonderful November. And yeah, if you join the SAL, I would love to see your progress and your finishes and your starts. Thank you so much for your time today, and I'll see you later.